Welcome to another episode of Nobody Fucking Ask. I'm Zaga.
What's up? It's Colin.
And this week, guys, to stick with our voice actor stuff, and first of all, thank y'all for the love that we got on the Uncle Copper episode.
Yeah, that was crazy.
A lot better than what we've averaged and seen. So you guys made milestones for us. So thank you for that. But to keep it going with voice actors and crispy sounding men, I was actually on a show not too long ago called the Christian Reeves podcast. And if you guys were cool and actually listened to me, you probably would have seen it and met him. Colin, did you listen to that episode? That's actually a good question.
I did, but I skipped past your part.
Ah, good. You just didn't. Got you. Well, I'm going to introduce him. This is a friend of mine, Christian Reeves. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We bring the class with us here at NFA Pod. We went Southern. Now we're going British. Colin, did you bring your tea with you?
I didn't. I got coffee though.
Motherfucker, I got the crumpets.
I got a giant coffee too.
And I got the
Very
chips.
American today.
So I was studying. I was trying to study some British slang, and it really doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh no. Okay, go on.
Oh no, I don't remember any of it.
You got to give us examples now.
Just not good at studying, then.
Oh no, I'm terrible. Why do you think I'm 33 years old starting a podcast? I clearly didn't do well in college.
Are you saying there's something wrong with starting a podcast?
At 33 years old, yes, there's something wrong with me and Colin.
I take exception to
that. So, like, for example, like what's a quid?
It's a pound coin. Pound.
I still don't understand pound. It makes no sense.
Pound.
It's a dollar.
The pound. Quid. Yeah. That's it.
What is gobsmacked? This is
like shocked. Like, like, oh my God.
Like
you're gobsmacked?
Gobsmacked. These are real terms.
I'm using that from now on.
Yeah.
It's like flabbergasted.
Yeah. Same thing.
Okay.
So I'm looking like knackered. Like these are like your slang.
Tired.
Like your slang is way better than ours. Like we're just like I'm beat. I'm beat.
Yeah.
Knackered sounds so elegant.
There's some pretty good American ones.
I'm lit.
Lit is pretty good.
There's no good American ones.
No, we haven't had anything good in for.
Bussin'.
Like
fam.
On God.
I am.
Like hold on, this one here. Taking a piss.
No cap. I like that one. No cap.
No cap is fun. But what is?
I don't know where no cap came from.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting to I think because we're all around the age of 30 now, aren't we? I'm just about to turn 30. So like I've kind of accepted my age now. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's a new generation. Let them do their thing. But every now and again, I'll hear them say something new, and I'm like, what is that? What is that?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Like I got brothers that are teenagers, and they'll be talking sometimes, and I'm like, sorry, can you say that again in English? Because I don't understand a word you're saying.
Dude, my sister's Colin knows my sister. I don't know what she's saying. I don't know what she's saying.
I can
imagine. I love code language.
Like Liz, I love you, but half the time when you talk, it's in code, and I don't get it. I
gibberish.
Feel like we're Asian, and I still don't understand that shit. But like, what's another one here? Like taking a piss, taking the piss. What is taking the piss?
Taking the Mickey, ribbing someone, mocking someone,
mocking someone. Okay,
taking a piss. It can be someone. It can also be used in the context of like, you taking the piss, mate. Like, are you exaggerating this? Are you.
So wait. I'm just scrolling on this random site I just
taking
searched.
the piss.
I didn't think I would be like authoritarian on English slang today.
Listen,
how I thought this was going to go.
These are the questions that the people need to understand.
People need to know.
We need answers to these things. Like, what is throwing a wobbly?
I don't actually know that one. Throwing a wobbly.
So it's one of the new ones.
I think it's like. Do you know what? I'm not going to pretend to know. I don't know.
So it says here the British expression means to have a tantrum. However, tends to be used when describing tantrums thrown by adults or people who should otherwise know better. Throwing a wobbly.
Throwing a wobbly.
We would just say like, I don't know, being a drama queen. Maybe.
Okay, we say that.
That's a bit old fashioned though. Then I don't really know anyone that says that anymore.
Madonna.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Over dramatic. Melodramatic. We say that a lot. People are being melodramatic.
What is a bog?
A bog? Oh, toilet. Right. Go to the bog.
I
I don't really say that personally, but some people say that.
But it's still like, see, these are things that
Toilet, loo,
these are words that are never said,
Bitter.
ever said in America. This is why I'm asking you these things. I thought
Hey,
a
where did
bog was
loo
like a
come from?
swamp.
Well, it is in America, isn't it? Swamp land.
I don't know.
Swamp land.
Bog land.
Well, before we continue our
the bog. The bog.
before we continue our British questionnaering, tell the people a little about yourself. Like, what do you do? What's your show about? All that fun stuff.
So I am an actor, voice actor, musician, podcaster, content creator, jack of all trades, master of none. Fun fact, that's actually the part of a much longer paragraph. Not many people know. I don't know off the top of my head. Just saying. My podcast, I got two. So I got the Christian Reeve podcast and Life with Christian Reeve. And the Christian Reeve podcast has been going about 3 years now. It's basically just sharing people's life stories, going in deep dives on topics. I like to kind of spend a lot of time doing research on people, having quite a laid back kind of shows, not dissimilar to say like how Joe Rogan does it, but slightly different vibe. I like to try and, for the most part, get like as many positive stories as I can, but sometimes they hit on pretty heavy topics too. So it's kind of like an exploratory kind of show, I guess, a feel-good kind of show. And then Life with Christian Reeve is just me, more me. So it's just me telling stories, giving life updates on my quest to become an actor and everything in between.
So, obviously, I was on your show as a guest,
Mhm.
and you've been doing interviews for quite a while, right?
By the way,
Yeah,
how did
nearly
you find
3 years.
Tony?
Reddit, I think.
Reddit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Usually it's
Reddit. I will
Craigslist
say
where
this
people
on a
find it.
side note: if you're listening and you're starting a podcast or you're struggling to find guests, Reddit is your friend. I mean, I think there is a certain degree of outreach you need to do, and once you've been doing the show for a long time, you start getting people reach out to you randomly, and I do get that sometimes. But Reddit is such a great resource. I've been using it for the past 3 years. I still use it. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Now, we just started doing interviews with people. Like, we've had Uncle Copper,
Lucas
we
Home.
have you, Lucas Home. Next week, we have Not So Easy being Wheezy coming onto the show. Big news.
That's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be a great show.
Tony's gonna cry, I think.
I know, I'm actually a big fan of hers.
He's gonna tear up.
Probably. And so what I've learned, and I'm sure Colin doesn't go to the extent of research I do, when we have to research a guest, you're borderline just becoming a next level stalker, right? It's the best way to word it.
Well, I think it depends on how you approach it, what your show is about. Because for me, like when it first started, it was like, I just need to do this so that I have some questions to ask the person. And, the more informed you are about a person or a topic, the better the questions are going to be. But over time, I've kind of realized that like it's more of a kind of thing to have at the side. A lot of the time, I don't even look at the questions. I kind of just get a vibe for the person, get an idea, and slowly guide the conversation. And that's how I approach it. But I know that other people have like a very specific show structure that they go with, and maybe they're trying to kind of fit within that. Like a good example is a guy's show that I went on recently. I think it's called Mike and the Magic Box. He has like a set of questions that he asks like every guest, but it's like random. So he's got like maybe, I don't know, 100 questions in there, and he picks them out randomly and then asks his guests. I think it really depends on what kind of approach you want to go, what you're trying to achieve. Is it just for comedy? Are you trying to do a more serious type of thing? Are you trying to learn about people, or whatever?
Yeah, we don't have a real structure here at NFA Pod.
But sometimes that is a good structure. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's better to be a bit more no structure, as long as you got someone guiding it a little bit.
Like this question wasn't structured. This was, I thought about this because I was reviewing, obviously, for our episode right now, as well as the episode we have coming up with Wheezy. And I'm like, for Wheezy, like I'm scrolling back to her very, very, like out of her thousands of TikToks, and I'm scrolling to the very bottom. I'm reading comments, seeing what she said. And I'm just like trying to learn everything I can about this person to come up with a very unique question,
Cool.
which most of the time don't actually come to fruition because I don't really care. Not no offense to our future guests, right? I don't really care about your personal lives. I just want to see how you react to the stoned out questions that I've come up with.
Fair
Colin
enough.
Can vouch because I call him. I'm
He's
like,
got
what do
a
you think?
lot of them.
Like he's like, what do you think? I'm like, what do you think of this question? He's like, what are you smoking, bro?
Yeah, no, there was a few
I want
on
some.
older episodes. The would you rather one, I think, was like the craziest questions you've ever asked. I was like, dude, what the fuck?
Oh, maybe we should bust some of these out. I'll think about it. We'll see how much time
Should
we
we
have.
ask the old man question?
We'll save it.
That's
We'll see.
that's a good one.
We'll see. We'll see. Because we did the would you rather last episode. So maybe we might wait. I don't know. We'll get a feel for it. We'll see how it goes out here. But the way our show goes about, and if you guys have listened before, and Christian, I don't know if you listened to our previous episode or the last two
Any
episodes.
clips? No, I haven't, unfortunately.
Okay. Good.
Oh, you're in for it.
Yes,
Oh, no.
because we are going to interview you because we want to know. We want the people to know a little bit about you. So we'll start off nice and normal here. Like, how did you get into podcasting? Obviously, we know how we got into podcasting because I made a Facebook post and Colin messaged me and lied.
Yeah, I was drunk.
And yeah, so here we are now, 33 years old with a freshly started podcast. And like, how did you get into it?
Well, the story of how I got into it wasn't that particularly interesting, but I'll give you some context first about why I wanted to start, and then I'll give you sort of the beginning of it. So I actually wanted to start a podcast back in, as you know, it goes even earlier than that. I used to listen to the Ricky Gervais show, which used to be a podcast way, way, way back in the day. We're talking late 2000s. He did a few different shows around that time that were all like audio only shows, and this was back in the day when I'd be carrying around like an iPod and listening to it. And I remember I'd go to some job I hated, like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. every single morning, rinsing these shows, listening again and again and again and again. And I suppose back then, I was familiar with the concept of a podcast, but I didn't really envision that was something that I could do, because back then, whatever, I was going through a different time in my life. But I loved the format. I really loved it. And I obviously loved the content and whatnot. But years later, then lots of people started copying that format, started doing podcasts, and it became more and more interesting to me. It's like, oh, people talking, maybe people that you're inspired by, maybe complete strangers. It's interesting.
Interesting.
Then I got back into, so I've always been a big fan of like professional wrestling. And there were a number of years where I just, life got in the way, uni, whatever. And I kind of got back into it. I discovered a few uni friends that were into it, and I was like, oh, cool. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, maybe I could do a podcast about wrestling. Combine these two loves I have and see where I go with it. And I kind of trialed the idea, but I was never really serious about it. And one of the bigger things I realized about that is that some things in life should just remain passions. And for me, it kind of sucked the life out of it, having to do that much research and watch every single wrestling show going. Like, it's just a lot. It kind of sucked the fun out of it for me.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I understand that totally.
So fast forward to 2020. I always wanted to do a podcast, but I just, same as my YouTube career early on, I never had any good ideas. And then one day, I started making some friends online, and we, did something not dissimilar to you guys, just chatting it up, just having a bit of fun. The show lasted about 7 or 8 episodes, and it was a real shame when it ended, because we had a great rapport, great chemistry and everything, but just it ended. They wanted to do different things, and I was like, crap.
What was that episode that made it end? We talked about this on that episode on your
There
show.
was like a fight.
No, it was the would you rather. You said
it was a would you rather.
Oh.
So last time I was on Christian's show, we talked about, I was like, oh, this week, we're actually doing would you rather's, and he was like, oh, those are the killers of podcasts.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
nail.
I remember you told me about that. I didn't realize it was Christian.
Yeah. But now here we are with TikTok celebrities, and somehow made it past it.
I mean, it
I
kind of
think
was the
depends.
death of what we were doing originally.
Yeah,
I think it depends how you do it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea on face value, but if it's like, oh, we've run out of ideas this week, so we're just going to do this, I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's more interesting when you look at it and you go, okay, let's, with what I know about this person, how would they react to this scenario? And like, really sit down and think about the questions and construct it there. Then I think it might have some value. When we did it back on my first show, it was just kind of like, I don't think we had any better ideas that week, and then the show just kind of ended, and it was what it was. And I was still in the kind of mode of, well, I want to keep doing this, but I don't want to do it alone. I'm so used to doing things on my own. I'm so sick of it at this point. But I wanted to keep doing it. And I was like, the only way this is going to happen is if I just do it. And at the time, I had like some shitty 20 euro microphone that I'd bought in Europe. I'd had like some really terrible laptop camera. I had like nothing, right? And I just started doing it. I just started. And slowly but surely, as the time went on, things got better, got a mic, got a good camera, and we're still building it 3 years later. But basically, I just started doing it, and I figured it out as I went along. I wasn't really sure at the beginning how it was going to start. I thought it was just going to kind of be a show where I'd sit and talk about stuff. And ironically, it ended up just being about mostly interviews. But I feel like any good show tends to go through different stages. You kind of just trial different things here and there. You find the rhythm that kind of works for you. You pay attention to what your listeners are saying, and the ball kind of rolls naturally,
That's kind of what happened with us. I mean, we started off as a hip hop show, and
Right.
Yeah.
then we
That was a good
turned
idea.
it. Then we just got really baked one day, just trying to come up with ideas for an episode, and we came up with a whole new show, which is this. And here we are. Now we're doing interviews, which was not the plan originally. It was just to
Nope.
be shit that we talked about that nobody fucking talked about. And the whole idea was we're the podcast nobody asked for. But now we ask the questions that nobody wants to ever ask people, and we're gonna do
I
it.
guarantee if you keep going and you get to say like episode 100, the show will look very different, but not like necessarily in a bad way. It will just, the look and the feel of it will be different, because as you keep doing it, certain things just click, and you're
Oh
like,
God. Oh
oh
God.
yeah,
Just
right,
from the
yeah.
first episode of that hip hop podcast. Like,
Oh God, I listened to that the other day.
dude, I watched it. I still had the video. And I saw you like,
Was that? I had my shitty mic and my shitty webcam and everything.
yeah, the quality for both of us, just from the way of the show running to the way the quality is as far as our cameras or microphones. Colin has literally gotten every single thing I have,
Yeah,
except for that microphone arm. I'm really jealous about that.
15. Oh yeah, my
This is the
stand.
thing, though. I don't think an audience ever really minds so much about quality. It's about the content. Content is king. Content always comes first.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we do and say stupid enough shit that I think we can skate by for the most part.
What I'm saying is, like, your structure that you're developing now, that is what people will kind of come on board for. Obviously they're into your rapport, the jokes and all that stuff, and that is a huge part of it. But it's also about having, that basic structure and kind of moving between things and being able to follow that. Like, that's so important in the show.
I want to say everything you're saying sounds way more important and believable because you have a British accent.
Yeah, for real. I'm like
Like-
taking notes right now. Like, oh fuck.
Like we feel like we're getting our TED talk, and it's just like, okay, professor.
Is that,
Like I feel
Is
like
that
I'm at fucking Hogwarts right now.
is that a backhanded way of telling me that I'm just talking shit?
No, because think
I
about
see
that.
you, man.
Think about that. If I'm half Italian, right? If I was sitting here, hey, listen, if you just go out there and you just keep putting the episodes out, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna keep it's gonna keep working. It's gonna keep working.
People are
for
gonna
you.
come.
They're gonna come. The more episodes you put out, they're gonna come. They're gonna like the
Yeah,
content.
if
you put.
he says it, I'm just like, all right, fuck
Well,
off,
jokes
dude.
Like if
Right,
I said
though,
it like that,
like-
I just sound like a sleazy car salesman that I'm trying to get you to buy a fucking product. When you
See
say
what you just said there, though, even though you're joking around, it is true. If you just keep doing it, like, that's the biggest thing. Like, I think is
absolutely,
important. Like, you
100%.
keep getting it. You get to
Consistency.
your first 20, your first 50, your first 100, 200, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I think I figured out what my show is in the first like 100 or 150 episodes.
Oh, damn.
And from there on, it's been kind of just constantly tweaking it and developing it and stuff. And every now and again, I'll get an episode like Zaga, like when we did a show together, I came off and I was like, this is why I do this show. Because of like episodes like this, where it's like, you have fun, you have a good chemistry with your guest, you ask the right questions, you back and forth. Like one of the key things I learned, for example, is knowing how to listen like properly. You know, like knowing when to kind of keep your mouth shut and just listen and guide, and when you need to kind of step up and talk a little bit more and steer the ship. You know, it's all just stuff you work out by just slowly doing it episode by episode.
True.
And then
It's true.
that plus like your confidence in what you're doing will bring the numbers. You know, like a show like this has every reason to succeed. It's just about being confident and just keep doing
You
it.
saw Tony's little smile there.
Well, listen, like
Tony's like the compliment monster.
I'm just saying, I know I'm pretty goddamn great. You know, I'm on my
His
show.
ego all fucking big now. I got another 2 hours of this. Thank you for that.
Um,
Love it.
no, man, I had a lot of fun on your show, and I love being a guest on the show too because I know what goes behind the scenes of running the
Mhm.
show. It's a lot of goddamn work. I mean, I told Colin the other night I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning just working on TikToks.
Yeah, I was sleeping.
Yeah, I was just wide
I
awake.
have the easy
just-
part on this podcast.
Yeah, he just shows up and does his little
I
side.
show up.
Oh, I love that so
sips
much.
his
Just be able
coffee.
to show up to a show and
Just-
not have to do anything. Just show up
I
and
just
talk.
show up and I'm like,
What dream?
That's
all right,
what I'm saying.
things.
That's
Give me
why
some
that's
credit.
why I love being a guest on a show. So
Yeah.
With that being said, moves my next question. Who would you say is the most interesting guest you've ever interviewed?
I hate this question. There's so many. There's so many. I know
But
that's
you
a
can
cop
only
out.
pick one. You can only pick
Yeah.
one.
How many people have you interviewed?
Okay, I'm gonna guess that there's about 10 to 15 episodes that were just me talking. So if we remove those, it's somewhere in the region of like 180, 190 people. Something like that.
Jesus.
That's great networking, though. It's gonna be
Yeah,
Oh
great.
no,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I love it. I love it. I love having. Do you know? I love having conversations. The show has made me a better conversationist, and it's made me kind of reevaluate, like I said a bit earlier, like what the show actually is. And you know, like my show doesn't have the numbers, it doesn't have the push, the pull, but it's starting to look the part and all that. But the most exciting thing is the guests that agree to come on my show. Like, I mean, I've had like publicists reach out to me and be like, "Hey, we want this, and this person on your show." Business owners, especially, is interesting to me when they reach out and they're like, "Oh, I want to be on your show," and I'm in my head, I'm thinking, why? I have no traction. This will do nothing for you. But I think it's because I put a lot of time and effort into my research, my interviewing. Same as you, Zagai. I spend a lot of time clipping stuff up, putting stuff online. You know, my favorite guest, I can't give you like an exact like specific guest, but I can tell you that my favorite type of guests always are the people that come on with the attitude, I want to have a good conversation and talk. And like, it's not just about promoting whatever they want to do or whatever. Because I think the best way to promote yourself is to just be there, be yourself. Because this show could very easily just be me going, well, I do this thing. And one time I did this. And like, aren't I great? But it's better to just kind of talk and show who you are and win people over that way, and actually create good content and make the episode something that people will want to listen to. And then, you know, that creates other avenues like repeat appearances. I've had that on my show as well. Like, it's stuff like that only happens when people are willing to have that conversation.
But you still didn't answer. Who's the most interesting guest
Tried to
you
sneak
have?
out of
ever-
that
I
one.
know.
Yes.
He tried to pull. See, listen, we're
Listen
American.
here,
We're used to
with your
lying
smooth
politicians.
voice.
We're used to lying politicians and the way they get out of questions. You just pulled that shit on us. We're Americans. We're used to it.
They're the same in the UK. They're the same. There's no difference.
You can't pull one on us. Who's your favorite? You got to answer.
This is a bit unusual, but actually, I think my favorite guest is the one I just interviewed. The episode isn't out, but the guy
nice
that I
little plug-in right
interviewed,
there.
All right.
Plug-in.
Little
Yeah.
plug right there.
the guy that I interviewed, basically, I'm doing an episode soon on near-death experiences,
Oh,
and
that sounds interesting.
when I reached out, so shout out to Josh Leonard, Pursuit of Infinity podcast, great guy. He came on my show on the 200th episode. We spoke at length about life after death. It was a great episode. He was like, I want to be on when you do near-death experiences because I've got a lot to say on this topic. I'm like, yeah, great, let's do it. And something in me was like, do you know what? I'm going to reach out on Reddit and just see if people are interested. Because I thought in my head, I was like, do you know what would be cool? It'd be cool to collect people's near-death experiences, like sort of like a case study type thing. Because I'm
Yeah, see
already,
if any of them are similar.
yeah, because I'm already doing that. Like I've studied academic journals for it. I've sat down and read like loads of witness accounts. Like I've got a lot of research prep for this episode, but I haven't actually done it yet. And I've got quite a few guests lined up that are going to share their near-death experiences as well. And now I've just decided it's going to be a series of episodes. Now, this episode that is just about to come out with this guy, I wasn't sure when to release it. In the end, I acquiesced and thought, you know what, I'm just going to release it in 2 weeks from now. Just begin this new season of episodes about these things. Anyway, this guy came on my show, and I thought we were just going to talk about his near-death experiences. And we ended up talking about wild stuff, everything from 90s gang culture and him being like the victim of like drive-by shootings. He spoke about having a sex addiction and how he overcame that, which took me by surprise because, you know, I do a lot of research into my guests and I have like a lot of different, you know,
You didn't find
knowledge.
those ones.
Well, he just kind of brought it up, you know, because it's how it is. When you're telling one story, you're like, oh, well, so this leads into when I was dealing with this. And I'm like, and I'm just keep my mouth shut. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, right, here's what I'm going to ask him next. Here's what I'm going to ask him next. Right. And so when the episode comes out and the clips come out, you'll notice that a lot of the stuff I've just spoken about is not clipped up and not out there. And a lot of it is because of like, it's one of those episodes where it's definitely 18 plus. No one should be listening to it if they're under the age. I've had to put a disclaimer on there, everything.
Don't worry. Nobody under 18 listens to our show because they're not allowed to. It is. It's
I mean,
bad.
we can make an effort to try at least to protect the younger community. But yeah, like we did the same when we were teenagers. You know? Anyway, the reason why for two reasons. I got what I needed, obviously, and then so I was able to explore those experiences with him and get his perspective on that, and then just listen to his life story, everything that he had to tell me about dealing with these different things and overcoming these different things, and like his perspective on relationships and his perspective on a lot of different things. And again, it's like what I was saying, like when Zaga came on my show, it's reaffirmation of what I'm doing, remembering that this is why I do this. And it's happened several times over. But I think this episode, the reason why I say he might be my favorite guest so far is that this feels like, I don't know, the next chapter. Like we're starting something new from this point onwards.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. Now, if you were in space and you farted, where do you think the gas goes?
In your back bedroom.
What?
I said in your back bedroom.
What British slang is that? I don't understand.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Just your bedroom. I don't know.
But like if
As
you're
a failure
if you're
human.
floating around in space and you fart,
Yeah.
like say you can breathe in space and you fart, like where
Well, you
does
can
it
you
go?
can breathe in the ship.
Oh, right. No, so in your
So does it just float?
in your spacesuit.
or like-
You know,
Or like say you're in a space station and you fart. Is it like a thruster? Does it propel you?
probably.
That's
And
And
hysterical to think about.
everyone in the spaceship's gonna hate you. 'Cause
I
you
need-
just
Yeah, how do you air that out? Do they just stay in there?
And does it
Well, you
does
don't.
it like just sit there and just float in one space like somebody's just swimming in the air by and they just get smacked in the face? Brings a whole new
It'll
level
probably
to
just-
crop
yeah.
dusting.
it'll just keep hitting people like a force of lightning. Just
Or if you could see it.
Right?
don't eat burritos.
Right? All right. Colin,
Burritos
Green
in
bubble
space.
floating around.
Colin, you've been quiet. You need to ask a question. So you should
How
go
do you
ask-
feel about sporks?
Sporks.
Sporks, yeah. What are your thoughts on them?
Pointless. Just
Yeah?
eat with a
Did
spoon.
you ever try to
Yeah.
eat soup with a spork?
No.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's doable.
I mean,
But it's not easy.
like there's certain kinds of sporks, like the KFC spork, which is kind of a little elongated. It works a
Oh,
lot
for like
better.
beans. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you just say
I feel
beans?
like they're good as a
Hold
spoon.
on.
Yeah.
They serve beans at KFC.
Baked
but
beans in
At
in
KFC?
the UK.
I've
yeah.
never had baked beans at KFC.
Yeah.
What? What do they
Thing.
serve?
Well, what do you have with the spork in KFC?
Mashed potatoes,
Mac and cheese.
Interesting. We have
Stuff that's
gravy
terrible
as
for
well.
us.
They just send us like gravy.
Well, yeah, gravy's great. Like
Yeah,
KFC's
Yeah.
gravy is
you
where it's at.
you get that by the gallon over here.
Yeah. We drink that. Like
I
Yeah.
want a gallon
if
of
you cut
gravy.
open
bathe in it.
if you cut open a Kentucky person, they just bleed KFC gravy. That's what they are. Their blood is brown.
Yeah,
Oh my
chicken skin
gosh.
and gravy.
So, like, what's one American thing that just doesn't make sense to you?
Okay. Why you have invented certain words to replace other words. So I understand the reason why you spell things differently because fun fact, the printing press in America in I think the 20s and the 30s used to drop letters from news headlines to save money. So that's why, for example, color is spelled differently because you know you got
wondered
charged.
that.
You get charged by the letter, so that's why they did that for many different words. And to be honest, I actually think there's a lot of logic to that because the English language, when you look at spelling, really doesn't make any sense a lot of
None
the time.
whatsoever.
Like rhinoceros is a good example of that, the way that's spelled, and just many different words. But what
It makes sense
little
to me.
things?
Like,
Well, no, yeah, it makes sense in the sense that like we grew up with that, like it makes sense. But if you really sit down and think about it, how you spell out that word versus how you say the word, two different things.
okay.
And there's a bit of a disconnect there. But the thing that annoys me with American vocabulary is, like instead of just saying pavement or a variation of it like the rest of the world, you'll say sidewalk, just or
But
instead of car, you say vehicle, just
I mean,
stuff like that. It
I
just
don't.
irks me.
I mean, I'm so confused. You don't call it a sidewalk?
No.
What do
And
you
neither
do?
does
What
the
is it
rest of
called?
the world.
Like, what do you do there? Like, it's a
Pavement.
pavement is what you drive a car
The
on.
pavement's it's what it's made out of.
No,
Yeah.
it's made out of concrete. Pavement's different.
That's what it's called, pavement.
Pavement's
It's
like
just
what?
you,
Like
you guys
blacktop?
being awkward.
Yeah, like pavement's like blacktop. I don't understand. So, like,
Why do we call it blacktop?
I don't because and I'm thinking of like a sidewalk, right? It's on the side of the road, and it's where you're supposed to walk because you're not supposed to walk in the road. So
I'm
it's
not
a
disputing the
sidewalk.
logic of why you've called it that. I'm disputing why you chose to. Okay, let's pick a better example. American football. Let's go there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Now
you're
I've watched
you're
American.
treading
I've-
on some
No,
very
no,
thick
no, no, let me
territory
finish.
here.
Let me finish.
No,
Let me
this
finish.
is gonna
Right?
be good.
American football. You barely kick the ball in that sport. You do kick it. So I'm not going to say like you don't use your foot, but mostly it's like English rugby in the sense that the objective is to run with the ball and you kick it to whatever, get field goal, etc. I can't remember the exact rules, but it's not dissimilar in rules to rugby. But this fact still remains that it would be more accurate to call it like American carry ball or something, like as opposed to football. And then to add insult to injury, you call football, which the rest of the world calls football, soccer. And I understand the reason to make the differentiation, but why? Why call it American football in the first place? Why not call it something else? I don't get that.
I don't.
There's a reason for that, and I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I don't
The
know.
ball's not a foot long. I know that. Or is it?
By the way, it doesn't bother me that much. It's just since we're talking about it,
I
I
don't
don't
think it
really
bothers like a lot of the world.
I think the thing that I just want to understand, it's just confusing for some reason. Like I understand the differentiation, like when someone says American football, I think what it is, it's just odd because I've sat and watched American football, and there's not a lot of kicking. Like the only time you really tend to kick is same as rugby when you're just trying to get it up the field. But is it the same rule as rugby where you have to pass backwards?
No, well, you can.
No, you can't pass backwards.
Oh,
Well,
interesting. Okay,
it's called the lateral. So like you just toss it behind you. You can't throw it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Right.
So like
Yeah, right. Okay.
I've watched rugby. I just want, and I'm sorry to say this. I know this is probably going to hurt your soul because you're probably like a Man U kind of guy or something like that.
Nope.
I don't know. That's the only team I know. Soccer is boring as hell to me. I can't watch it.
I can only watch the World Cup.
Like, I'm sorry, like, dude, like they just run around for like, I don't know, an hour, and then they'll score one goal. And I understand why they're celebrating so hard because like,
That
takes so
shit's
long.
hard.
Yeah.
I think I think you could say that about a lot of sports. Every sport has like boring times and exciting times. Like football can be very entertaining. Like for example, recently Liverpool beat Manchester United 7-0, and it's like historic. Like they've not done this in like
You just
quite
said a
a
word.
while.
You're saying words again that we don't know.
Nil means
Okay,
nothing.
they kicked the ball in the goal 7 times, and the other team didn't kick the ball in the goal at all, and then
Nil. Okay.
Liverpool were declared the
Yeah,
winner.
nil. Nothing.
I'd never heard nil before. Shut out.
Zilch.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Sorry, it's just me being a dick as usual.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand it,
Sorry.
bro. Listen, I still got the
Okay.
list up of British slang words that I don't understand. Like,
I just feel bad now.
like I
I'm
just
sorry.
no, like we're just we're ignorant Americans. We just don't understand. So like,
am I. Yeah.
like I'm reading here. What is pied off? I've never heard of pied off before.
Is that like
I think-
pissed off?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking pied off right now. Bro.
I will say with a lot of sports, you
that.
have to be clued in. It's like tennis. Like it took me a while to sit down and figure out tennis and all the like. I still don't understand why the score is 15 and then 30, 45. Like that's odd, but like
For what,
you get it
football?
after a while. No, tennis.
Oh yeah,
Tennis.
no, I don't understand tennis at all.
Yeah, I don't
Tennis is
get it.
good though. It's fun, interesting.
Oh, it's a fun game to play. I just don't get it. It makes zero sense to me. What was the thing? What was I say? Obviously I know you've done acting as an extra and voice acting stuff. How many movie credits do you have under your belt currently?
Do you know? I don't know off the top of my head. I've been in maybe like 4 or 5 feature films, one with dialogue recently. The rest have been like extra stuff. Most of the stuff I've done has been short films, voice acting, and voiceovers. So I've been doing it since 2019, and I'd say in the last 2 years is where I've really kind of racked up quite a few different credits.
So like, what's the biggest movie you've been in then?
Tenet. I was an extra in Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie.
That's pretty dope. Did you meet
Christopher
any of the
Nolan, that's
like?
sick.
Did you meet any of the like the major celebrities or no?
Yeah, I saw them, but I don't know. I'm kind of one of these people that I don't really care if someone's famous or not. It doesn't like I've had I kind of go by that don't meet your heroes thing, because every celebrity I ever met, with the exception of one person, was really just unpleasant, and it's kind of made me think 2 things. One, avoid them with all costs, because they're just rude and nasty, and I don't want, for instance, to meet one of my actual heroes and then for them to be nasty. And secondly, it also kind of has served as a bit of motivation for me. So if I ever do become successful, famous, whatever, I want to make sure I'm as nice as humanly possible to every single person I meet, because I remember how it felt being treated like that. Like for example, I met I've told this story many times, but I met the lead singer of Iron Maiden, Bruce
Okay.
Dickinson.
Sick.
And at the time I was working in a supermarket. I was in a metal band. You can see where this is going. Huge fan. And all right, look, I'm some kid. He's getting his milk. It's his local town. I was a bit nervous, but I wasn't like, oh my god, oh my god. I was like, I said like, can I shake your hand? He was like, yeah, if you want. And then I started talking to him, and I could tell it was irking him. But what was funny is that he had that look in his face where as soon as I started talking about Iron Maiden, he was like, oh, like just like
He's sick of hearing about.
oh, yeah, like oh my god, this again. And it's like, put yourself in my shoes. I'm 18, 19. I'm working full time at this place, and in the evenings, I'm doing band practice. I'm working hard. I'm trying to be successful like you. You're an idol of mine. And he just did not have the time of day for me. And the conversation just kind of fizzled out when I realized, oh, this guy's he's just an asshole. And I was like, oh, okay. And it broke my heart. I'm not going to lie. I can't really listen to them anymore. It just bothers me.
I was gonna say, did it like affect how you listen to them and everything?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a painful reminder that some people just think they're better than you for no reason. And here's the thing, guys. Fun fact. If you meet a celebrity, remember, they are just a human being. They're no better than you. You're no better than them. You're the same. The only difference is that they have gotten to a point in their career where they happen to be well known. And as we know, fame is fickle, and that can last 5 minutes. It could last a lifetime. Who knows? But like, I don't know. I've always kind of respected more how like people that treat others with respect. I value that much more than how successful someone is.
Interesting. Now,
That's a good way to look at it.
do you peel your grapes?
That sounds like a euphemism.
Oh yeah, I mean,
No.
however you want to take it, brother. You can answer
Sounds
it
like
however.
too much work.
I just go all in, man. Just raw dog it. Like
Interesting. That's
Roman style.
when I wrote that question on my little sheet, it made me so happy because I'm like, this is the most outlandish. Because who the fuck actually peels grapes?
I love
But
that
somebody
you
out
queued
there
up like a
that definitely
really
peels grapes.
serious moment with just a weirdly comical question. That's perfect.
yeah, all the time.
Beautiful.
That's what we do. Like, well, like I got to go back to this British thing because I'm not done with this yet. Because again, there's just such a culture change between the two of us.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, well, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want from me here, brother? Like,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know. No, I know it's different. I think it's for me. I think we're always going to be fascinated with each other because, as you're right, we are so diametrically opposed, but we're also very similar in many ways as well.
yeah, like I mean, like don't
Um,
get it twisted. Like we have the same type of conversation, everything stuff like that, but just our daily lives of culture just make zero sense.
I don't know. Yes and no. I think it depends. I
Like,
mean,
do
there
y'all
might be little thing.
like
Go on.
like do y'all have tea time? Like, is tea time a real thing over there?
Yeah, is that a thing?
Okay, I should explain something. So in the UK, we have like a class system thing. I think you have it too. So in the United States, you'd say like blue collar work or white collar work. You'd say stuff like that. In the UK, we have like middle class, upper class, and then working class. I consider myself working class. I grew up kind of poor, worked every day of my life. So I guess that's blue collar, isn't it? Same thing. Um, it depends. Saying tea time can refer to just having dinner, right? That can mean that. But I know what you mean is
See,
do we sit
I
down?
didn't even know that it had other meanings.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I know that for many Americans looking in, and people around the world looking in, they'll see us doing like afternoon tea, which is a thing. It's you go to like a special place and have tea and like scones and sandwiches and stuff. I would consider that quite posh or up end. Like it's not something you do like every day because it would be expensive and do you know what I mean? It's like a treat or whatever. But some people do that every day, and those people tend to be have a bit more money. They might be middle class, they might be upper class. When you look at high society, you look at aristocracy, royals, rich billionaires, whoever in society, sure, maybe those people do that every day. I can tell you that the average English person doesn't really do that, or probably couldn't afford to do that. Like we have tea at home, we drink tea. We're a nation that likes tea. We also love coffee. There's a coffee shop on every corner. Like, it's not that there's a lot of American influence there.
Well, yeah,
that would
because like
surprise you.
America runs on Dunkin'. Does England run on Lipton?
No,
Lipton's like cheap tea.
I don't know.
do you know? I think coffee. I think coffee it's a tricky one.
It's a tricky
Like
one.
I personally see like tea as like more of like a luxury drink. Like I would sit and drink it like I wouldn't wake up in the morning and the first thing I have is a cup of tea, for example. Like for me as a British person, tea is like more of a comfort thing. Like there's this joke that goes around that whatever happens, we put on a cup of tea. Like, oh, your mum just died. Here, let's have a cup of tea. Oh, you just it's your birthday.
Makes
Let's have a
sense.
cup of tea. Something
Yeah,
really
that's how I
happens.
see it.
Yeah, it's like we do sit down and have tea and talk, but it's like not dissimilar to just having coffee. I mean, you just
I
sit, you
mean,
chat, whatever. Like,
I mean, if one of our family members dies, we usually don't go for coffee. We like maybe bring like you bring a
I'm
pie.
taking the piss,
Like
obviously. Like, I'm not being
Yeah, we
serious, but
bring
like,
baked goods.
we bring baked goods. That's what we do. See, like we're American, so we just put sugar and more sugar, and we
I
hand
should
it to
add,
you.
just like we don't do that. I was just taking the piss. Like,
Okay.
but
I was
the
gonna say,
meme is like,
like,
oh, like the meme is that we always just do that and we always have tea and that's what we always do. Like, but I don't know. Most of the people I know just drink coffee. But we do drink tea. I think it depends on the person, to be honest. But yeah, I've always kind of seen tea as like like a luxury kind of thing. Like you sit down, you relax, you chat to someone, whatever, you know. But to keep us going, I think, to be honest, I think like we're more into our coffee here, you know, like.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
that's just what I see. I don't want to generalize too much because I'm sure any British people will just come for me and be like, "What are you talking about? Stop giving a false impression."
Well,
But
we only got
I don't
one
know.
listener.
Don't
in
tell them
Eng-
we drink coffee.
We only have one listener in England, so we're pretty good. Like, I don't think we're going to offend too many people. That one person in England that's listening to our show, if you're upset, tough tits.
I will say this actually. I should add this. I think it depends where you are in because like I think in the major cities, probably everyone's going to be mostly drinking coffee and stuff like that. If you're out in the countryside or whatever, maybe people are more drinking tea. I don't know. Like country life versus city life is always going to be different, and I've experienced that in other countries as well. So there was always that kind of divide, a difference in day to day. You know, for example, even things like baked goods and stuff tend to be better, you know, in this outside of the cities, in more rural places, because they're made handmade, you know, so
they're made with love.
well, yeah, it's just tend to be tastier, you know.
True. Now, well, like, who's one celebrity that you would shoot your shot at if you became famous? I gotta know you make it into
You gotta be
Hollywood,
prepared,
and
yeah.
you make it into Hollywood, and now you have a chance to holler at Emma Watson or another girl from Hogwarts. I don't know.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley, another beautiful English woman. Or
Dua
are you
Lipa.
or Dua Lipa? See, I knew. You know, Jack. You got some tough competition against Jack Harlow. He's the smoothest man in America right now.
You've got better hair though.
Yes, yes. If you permed
You've
it,
got him there.
if you perm it could be better. You could be the next Jack Harlow. Just saying. I think you should do a voice skit where you learn Jack Harlow's voice. You should learn it. Do a whole skit where you're shooting your shot at Dua Lipa. I mean, number one TikTok in America.
I think she's like happily engaged, isn't she, or something?
No, she's dating Jack Harlow.
Oh, she's
Oh,
with
is
it?
she?
Okay,
Yes,
I didn't know.
because he made a song about her.
Oh,
Man,
that's
Drake
nice.
tried that with Rihanna, and that did not work.
No, but his Jack Harlow's song about Dua Lipa was about having sex with Dua Lipa
Like
Mad.
before or after?
before, and
Oh, damn.
it worked.
I want that confidence.
Right? Could you imagine?
That is pretty cool. Yeah,
All right, so
Literally
him.
sang it into existence.
all jokes aside,
manifestation. There you go.
what's
Yeah.
one actor that you would dream about working with?
Oh God, there's so many.
I could see Jared Leto.
Nah, definitely not.
No?
I'm gonna pick one that's hideously underrated
We're listening.
because I think he's one of the best actors ever, and he doesn't get nearly enough credit. There's an actor called Stephen Graham from the UK. He's been in some American films here and there.
It sounds familiar.
He's friends with Tom Hardy, I think. I think he's probably his biggest role in more recent memory was he was sort of like the villain character in This Is England, a 2006 film.
Never seen
He
it.
has this. You guys got to see that movie. It's absolutely excellent. It's one of the, when you're talking about British movies, that's right up there as one of the best I think ever made. Shane Meadows is a fantastic director. Stephen Graham is this guy, like he does a lot of the very similar roles where he's just really intense and really kind of passionate. He plays like a lot of like everyman kind of English roles, but there's like a level of sincerity and authenticity in his performances that I just think is so underrated, and it just kind of blows my mind because like everything he does is just brilliant. And I know that's subjective coming from my perspective, you know, this is just my opinion, but I would love to work with that guy. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He was just filming something recently here on my doorstep. It's kind of wild. I think the show's called Boiling Point or something.
Oh, Boiling Point. I've heard of that.
I feel like I've heard of that. Yeah.
As I recall, I think originally he did a movie for it, and supposedly the whole thing was done in one shot. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, it's kind of wild. And now I think they're doing like a TV series continuation of it. fun fact: it's has the guy who played Trevor in not Walking Dead, sorry, in GTA 5, Stephen Ogg, and he also played in The Walking Dead as Simon. He's going to be in it, and a few other people. But yeah,
Interesting.
Stephen Graham for sure.
Colin, do you have anything to add to that?
What's one actor you would want to fight if you had the chance? You guys are you're on set, you know, nobody's around, there's no cameras.
Jared
You gotta
Leto.
start.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Just make it easy.
Fair enough. Jared Leto's it's a good pick. What he did
feel like
what he
here-
did to the Joker was just unacceptable.
Apparently he's crazy.
Yeah.
Like he gets
hear
in
what
character
happened?
for weeks.
During COVID. Do you recall?
I can only imagine.
So while the rest of the world was experiencing COVID and doing their thing, he emerged out of it like maybe a month or two in, and was apparently at the time in some kind of desert backdrop with a bunch of people who'd signed up to some. I don't even know what to call it. Some people call it a cult. I don't know, but that's basically what he was doing. These people had paid up to do.
Vaguely heard about him being in a cult.
I
And I'm
can
not-
see him
Yes.
as a cult leader.
For legal
Fair.
reasons, it's not a cult. For legal reasons, it's not a cult. It's alleged. There you go. But
Oh
a
no,
fan club.
we're not getting on
pretty
that
much
radar.
looks like a cult. It pretty much looks like that.
Jared
I
Leto
don't
runs
know.
a cult. It's fine.
That doesn't surprise me though.
Allegedly.
He's nuts.
he's trying to be safe with that. So I'm like, yeah, no.
I'm just
it's fine.
saving your ass. Like maybe not now, but like maybe a few years from now.
No, no, I'm just saying.
You'll
What
thank me
if-
later. You'll be like, thank you.
What it looks like
Yeah.
is you might run a cult. You look like a cult leader. I'll
If it
say
looks
that.
like a duck and quacks like
He
a duck,
sounds like one.
it probably is a duck.
That's what I'm
just
saying, right?
Yeah,
So
it was weird. It's pretty weird.
So what's next for Christian Reeves? Obviously, you got the podcast going, and you're starting. You said you found your identity. You know what you're kind of doing with it. You're doing your acting, and you're getting more and more credits. Like what's next? What's next for you, brother?
Right now, I'm just trying to get as much work as possible. At the beginning of the year, I kind of went all guns blazing, really pursuing it. I thought if I'm ever going to try to do this, now I should really try and just give it my absolute all. So I got my portfolio done. I'm slowly building up footage to put together a more kind of up-to-date show reel and such. I'm basically doing everything I feasibly can to try and make this a reality, and that includes being online, doing things like TikTok, Instagram, live streams, appearing on wonderful shows such as yours, just doing everything I feasibly can to put myself out there and maybe be seen, because you never know. So the answer really is just to keep doing what I'm doing, and to take risks here and there, to travel to various places, see if I can make it. If a bigger opportunity comes on my lap, I'm going to go for it.
No, I respect it. What conditioner do you recommend for our listeners?
I use this one called Aussie.
Oh, the
I think
purple
it's
one?
Australian. Yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
Can you guys give me a
Quality
sponsor?
product.
I could use the money, and I've got good hair.
Struggling
so-
actor here,
Yeah,
people.
do a
We
hair
need
flip.
sponsors.
Give him a good hair flip.
Give a
real
hair
quick.
flip. Give it.
No, come
Come on,
on.
wait. We need this is getting TikTok, so you better. We need a nice little.
Yeah, do it.
Just
We'll
let
slow
it
it
flow
down.
in
We'll
the
put
wind.
sparkles behind it.
I think this looks so stupid. Okay.
There it is. Beautiful.
Oh, there it is. Perfect. We're gonna superimpose you on a horse. Like it's gonna
I
be
don't know
great.
how to do this without looking lame.
You nailed it.
Christian definitely does this at bars. A piece of girls just. Hi.
Nah.
I would do that shit all the time if I had hair.
Yeah, you're on a show with people with no hair, so
I got
Badass.
I'm
hair.
bald.
It's
I'm
not-
bald now.
It's just
How-
not good hair.
Yeah, his is just very little hair.
Just gonna get emo implants.
We all,
Put
we've
them
all
over
got
one
good
eye.
look.
Well, brother, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on
you.
the show. We gotta wrap. We gotta start wrapping up here.
Sure.
We're probably gonna hit you with a couple rapid fire questions real quick. But seriously though, thank you for coming on the show, man. It was fun being on your show. I'm glad we got you on our show. You were actually, I think, our first YouTube comment we ever had. So you have
Oh,
that.
mad. Okay.
I was gonna ask you what your biggest accomplishment is, but now we all know it's being the first comment on the NFA
It's
pod.
true.
Yeah, right. We're gonna
It'll
print it
never
out,
get
frame it,
better
and
than
send it
that.
to you.
And, working with Christopher Nolan, interviewing great people.
Guys,
No.
this is as good as it
First,
gets.
first comment on the NFA pod. But yeah, brother. I mean, do your wrap up. Tell the people where they can find you, why they should listen to you, all that fun shit.
If you're interested in someone that kind of always tries something a little bit different every single time, and you never know what quite to expect, I think I might be someone you might be interested in. I have a big kind of focus on trying to be as authentic as possible. So you'll get a lot of realness from me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything in between. So I think that maybe is the reason why to pursue me. Secondly, I think, I'm at a point in my life right now where it could be a really exciting time, and you might be joining me at an exciting point in my career and my life. So maybe that's a reason to get on the bandwagon. And in terms of finding me online, easiest ways is to just search me, christianreeve.com. You can find all my links on my link tree as well, linktr.ee/Christian Reeve. If you just search my name, it's pretty easy to find me. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it.
It's got to be kind of cool to just like search your name and like it's all you.
Yeah, you get a fancy name too.
It goes
Sound
back
like
and
you'd be
forth. I
famous.
don't know. I've been battling it for some time, trying to make sure I'm at the top of the search rankings, but you got to keep putting stuff out there. You know what I mean? I'm constantly battling with Christopher Reeve for top results.
Kind of hard.
There's also actually already an American actor called Christian Reeve, which is why I put Christian PK Reeve, which is my initials, to serve the distinction.
Wait, is Christian Reeve a pseudonym or is that your real name?
It's my real name.
Okay. I was asking.
I have to
Brad Pitt's not his real name, so
nobody's real name is a real name.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that.
I have no idea. I just made that up, but it could be true.
Yeah, I think that sounds like it would be true.
Sounds like a fake fucking name.
Yeah, they all do.
Think Will Smith is Will Smith?
Why would you call your kid Brad?
Like your last name's just like it just so happens to be Brad Pitt and rolls off the tongue so smooth. Fuck you. Right? Like, it's just rude.
It's just rude.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is that if they make another Superman movie, you better fucking put your name in the pot. Because then if you you have Christopher Reeves, and then if Christian Reeve becomes the new Superman. I've been following you on TikTok and on Instagram and seeing your gym updates. We gotta eat the protein. Let's get big, and then Henry Cavill ain't got nothing on you, bro.
No, he's not even Superman anymore.
Exactly. There's a hole. There was a Christopher Reeves. We can get a Christian Reeves.
They're looking for one.
I've never been a big fan of the Superman character. I must admit, that's probably kind of weird to hear, but yeah, I've always been more into
I hate DC also. So.
I don't like DC either.
Yeah, we're Marvel guys. We hate DC. So,
I get it.
But brother, thank you again for coming on the show, man. We gotta get you back on when you become famous again. We do this with every guest. When you become famous, when you become like the next star of the fucking next Christopher Nolan movie, you're gonna hop back on our show and let us be the first one to interview you, right?
You have my word.
Perfect.
Oh, there we go.
See, that's all we need. This is video proof. And then if your future managers ever try to combat me, I'm like, no, he said he'll do it for free. I don't have to pay no fee for that.
Yeah, we're not paying.
But yes, thank you again for coming on the show. Colin, say your goodbyes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dude, would you say that one episode, the near death, drops in 2 weeks?
Yes, soonish. That'll be the first official one will be with a guy called Gayo Chigon, and it's the introduction of that series. So yeah, so April 5th, I think.
Because I've been super interested in that, so I'm excited. But yeah, thank you so much. It was interesting learning about you and your guys' slang.
Well, thank you, gents. I appreciate your time, man.
You've motivated us. You've taught us. I literally feel like, you know what? You're no longer Christian Reeve to me. You are my Dumbledore. You are my headmaster, and I'm gonna come to you with all my problems from now on because I feel like no matter what you say to me, I'm gonna believe in myself now. I swear to God.
Yeah, I'm feeling motivated right now.
And it's not because you're English or Dumbledore. I'm just on a Harry Potter kick. Like, I don't know if you can see, all this stuff is all Harry Potter, so I'm on a Harry Potter kick.
You're a wizard, Zaga.
I fucking wish, man.
You're a wizard. And a thumping good one, I bet.
That's surprisingly so good.
Good.
That just fucked my brain up so badly.
Next time you're around here, we're going to interview you as different characters.
I'm just bringing you to Broadway and being like, no, he's one of the lead actors on the show for the fucking Harry Potter show. You're going to have to learn to do
that sounds like a YouTube video waiting to happen right there.
It'd be fucking hysterical. But yes, brother, thank you again. And guys, check out for Wheezy next week. Not so easy being Wheezy. She has 3 million followers on TikTok. You've probably seen her. She fits a Pringles can on her arm, and that's her most viral video, and it's
What
fucking
she does.
hysterical. It is what
I
she
thought you were
does.
going to say something else then.
Well, whoa. One thing on our show, we don't disrespect people. I'll tell you that. We do not disrespect people.
Good.
Only Colin.
Only Colin gets
Apparently.
disrespected on my show daily.
Yeah. This was the light one, actually.
I was very polite this week. It's because
I
it's
didn't cry
daytime.
once.
We're doing this during the daytime. I'm usually angry
It's
at
true.
night.
It's the earliest we've ever done this.
It's true. We did this for you, just so you know. We could be in bed.
Well, thank you.
But yes,
Thanks.
guys, check out next week. But until then, I'm out. Peace. Say goodbye, fucker.
See, you did it again.
Bye.
You did that thing where you look away.
I do this to Colin.
Adios.
Like I say goodbye,
Peace.
then you say goodbye, and now Christian says goodbye. Christian, say goodbye. I hate all of you.
This happens every time. Every time.
Goodbye.
Adios.